Good morning, welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Thursday, August 22, 2024, and it is a beautiful day here. I've just had to take the beanie off. It's actually quite warm this morning. It can be quite deceiving here in the Macedon Ranges. It can be sunny outside and then you walk outside and it's freezing, or it can look like a shocking day and you walk outside and it's quite muggy. Today is a little bit of both. It's a beautiful sunny day. But it is actually quite muggy to the point where my head was starting to sweat. So I'm almost, well, what are we? 2 weeks away from 2 or 3 weeks away from spring. So I suppose it's to be expected. So I'm just following my little mate here, Neil, at the moment. We've got a field behind me that has about 100 kangaroos in it every morning having their breakfast, and he likes to just stop and check them out. So this is where our walk comes to a bit of a crawl, and this is where it's a good chance to get this video done, because he does move quite slowly. But just on yesterday's video, I discussed the Team Zoo Michael Zaza situation, whether Australian boxing fans actually still want the fight. And I wasn't being neither here nor there, I suppose. I just want to see good boxing, of course. But I was surprised that Main Event and No Limit seem to be pushing the narrative of ending up with a Tim Tszyu versus Michael Zaza fight. Now that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a business. They're looking to sell pay-per-views. They're looking to obviously earn good money. So good on them, all involved. But as I said, I was a little bit surprised that still was the narrative, especially with in Michael Zaza's situation, coming off that knockout loss in March, and hasn't really done much yet to warrant it. But I'm sure if he gets on the board against Tommy Brown and maybe gets another win or two after that, well, I suppose you never know. I'm just looking at a big ass kangaroo just go out in front of me. It is huge, just jumping across the road. I was just a little bit concerned there for a second that he spotted us and decided that he wanted to have a piece of us, but he's jumped across the road. I reckon if he stood up, he'd be about 6'3". But anyway, a lot bigger than me. But I did the poll yesterday on my Instagram account, the Boxing Deep Dive Instagram account, just to put the question out there. Do you, as Australian boxing fans, want to see, or still want to see, Tim Tszyu versus Michael Zaza? And 69% said no, let it go. The other option was, of course, yes, bring it on, but 69% said no. So I suppose that sort of shows where we're at with the whole thing. Not to say that's not going to stop it from happening. And in some way, I maybe still think it, or hope it does it to some extent. As I said, I'm not really neither here nor there, but I'm just looking at Australian boxing as a whole, and would obviously be a big fight. But I just think Michael Zaza will probably need to get a couple of solid wins and maybe beat Nikita to get the Tim Tszyu fight. My gut feel is, if I'm being honest, is that the best that maybe Michael could hope for is Nikita Tszyu. It does make a fair bit of sense when you break it down. We'll see if Nikita's really got it or not, and it'll be a good chance for Michael Zaza to be in a really big domestic fight, but also maybe just put that carrot out into him. But I just get the impression that Tim is purely focused on the world scene, not necessarily here in Australia. And he did an interview, I think they showed Michael Zaza reacting to Tim Tszyu's interview about it, where he pretty much said the ship has sailed. And it's good that Michael's sort of clinging to the hope of it. But I would think even in his own mind, he has to do something to earn the fight, because coming off a second round knockout loss last time out, I don't think you really have grounds to be not demanding, but pushing for a Tim Tszyu fight. But as I said, you never know down the track. On to some recent boxing news, or in the last 24 hours, the reality card for the Beterbie and Bivol fight has been announced, and we have two Aussies on the card, Jaya Pataia and Scot Nicholson. I knew about Jaya Pataia. I spoke with Mick Francis a couple of weeks ago, so I knew about the Jack Massey. I think I might have called him James Massey, but it's Jack Massey. They will fight. I'm not sure the order of the card. If it's going by what I've seen on the poster, I've got a feel for a little bit for Jai, because he's pushed way down the card. This is someone that's going to be already is maybe a real star of the sport, and he's fighting based on the card as it stands, as I said, way down the list there. So I'm not quite sure if that's going to be the end result. But anyways, the whole card, we've got Shakur Stevenson up against Joe Cordina, and that is a fight that really surprises me, because I know Shakur Stevenson, is he with Matchroom now, or I'm assuming he's obviously got something to do with Matchroom if he's on this card, but the main support against Joe Cordina, I've got to say I'm not feeling it. I think if they wanted a real action fight to go into the main event, that is certainly not it. I would have thought Jai Pataya and Jack Massey would have been the fight for sure to go into the main event, get everyone nice and excited and warmed up. But it's it's Shakur Stevenson. So we had, coming off that win over Harad Tunyan, I think that's how you pronounce it. But as I said, I'm not feeling that one. The other one I'm certainly not feeling a lot about is Chris Eubank Jr. and Kamil Zeramata. I've seen him fight a couple of times, and okay, he's tough, he's durable. I think he had two or three losses. I think he lost to Triple G in Munguia from memory, but Chris Eubank's been inactive. I'm not quite sure about that one either. Then we've got Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. They're fighting a rematch. Okay, solid, I suppose. Ben Whittaker, he's the really good British or ex-amateur. He's 8-0 at the moment. He's against Liam Cameron. Was it him? Have I got the wrong one? The wrong Whittaker. Anyway, it's Ben Whittaker. 8-0. He's fighting Liam Cameron. And then we've got Scott Nicholson defending her WBC featherweight title against Raven Chapman, which, look, if I'm being again completely honest, is a little bit underwhelming as well. I think, look, you can't be. I think maybe we've got a little bit accustomed to, these super cards that the Saudis are putting on. And maybe, it's like when they first started those music festivals back in the day. I remember, when the Big Day Out started, and they just had Nirvana as the headliner, and they just had an okay sort of rest of the bill, and everyone was great. And every year it got better and better, to the point where it didn't matter who they put on it, it was just never good enough. Unless it was Nirvana, AC/DC, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden or someone. It was really hard to keep people happy, and I've just got a little bit of a feeling we're seeing that a little bit now with the reality cards. That because I must admit, I looked at the card and went, oh, okay, it's great that Jai and Sky are on the card, but I was a little bit like, okay. I actually think the card that the PBC put on earlier in the year with Tim Tszyu on it was a better card than this one. But having said all that, the end result is it's Arda Beterbie and Demitri Biv in the main event, which is all we really care about in the end, apart from obviously for us Aussies down here. But apart from Jai and to some extent Sky, look, of course she's an Aussie, I want her to win, that's great. But I've got to say, let's just say it's not Hagler Hearns type stuff when she fights, is it? So that's probably my one thing with Sky. And look, at female boxing, it's a whole different ball game. I get that, but I wouldn't mind just seeing maybe her in a couple of more entertaining scraps. It's almost like you can look at, and looking at the records, I think Sky's 11-0 with 1 KO, and Raven Chapman's I think 9-0 with 2 KO. So I think we can sort of see the way that fight's going. But anyway, I'm not going to get stuck into the girls. They give a lot to the sport and are doing great things. But yeah, that fight and just the others. So apart from Jai, we always get excited with Jai. If it wasn't for Bivol and Beterbie on the main event, which I would pay, just if they had 3-4 rounds on the undercard, I'd still pay my $60 or $70 for that fight because it's such a great fight. But yeah, I'll just look at the card itself, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I did see also that Turkey LL Sheik's looking to put a show on in China in December. That would probably feature Zhilei Zhang, you would think, hopefully against Martin Bakali, because they're talking about that. But yeah, but that's the reality card, and I don't know what you guys feel about it, but yeah, as I said, just a little bit underwhelmed by the whole thing, and I'll buy it, of course I will. probably the main thing is I won't be up at all hours to watch it. I'll probably wait until Jai's about to come on and then I'll get up. Yes, I know I'm not a real boxing fan. I don't get up at 2 in the morning to watch it. Okay, come at me. But yeah, apart from Jai, as I said, I'm and the main event, it's just a little bit of ho-hum for me. But you get that. They put on so many shows, so many big shows. You can't, you know, have those ultra shows all the time, I suppose, or ultra events. But again, I will be more than happy to fork over my money to watch it. A little bit surprised too. There was talk that maybe Justice Hooney might have been on that card. Obviously, they couldn't come to an agreement or find a suitable opponent. I'm not quite sure, but talking to Mick, I think he did say that they were maybe hopeful they might get Justice Hooney on that card, but yeah, not at this stage. Another card that's coming up next month. I spoke to Will Tomlinson yesterday, and really happy to hear or see, whatever it is, that he's now going to be hooking up with No Limit and be doing a Wednesday night, what's it called? No Limit on Fox. So he's been around for, I think, about 4 years. Will, he's worked really hard, done a lot of shows, really working hard to get his events up to scratch and get really good fights. And I know Will really well, and believe me, I got no doubt he would have been absolutely hounding No Limit for an opportunity. Well, he's now got it, so I'm really happy for him. I'm not sure it's actually been officially announced yet with the card and all that sort of stuff, but so I'll leave it. Although actually he did sort of announce it, because it was going to be a couple of days later. September the 19th is this date, by the way. So I think it's a Thursday, so it won't obviously be a Wednesday, but it's the 19th. But it was originally going to be the Saturday night. It's at the Pullman Hotel in Melbourne. And I think it was going to be a couple of fights I remember with Jason Malia and Ben Horn, which would be a good test for Jason. And I think Ben Marnie was supposed to be on it initially, but I'm not sure whether he's on it now against Victor Nagby. That fight might be off. I'm just trying to think what other fights were there. But anyway, there's no matter what it is, knowing Will, he always puts on really, really good events. A little bit like Ace Boxing, what they do, all the cards. I've never really seen a bad card that he's done. And this is not a paid presentation, by the way. I'm not being paid or nudged by Will to say this. But as I said, he just rang me yesterday to let me know, and I'm really happy for him that he's got the opportunity. I'm just looking over the fence here. I thought it was a human head. It's a dog's head looking at us, saying, "What are these guys doing?" So yeah, so that is September 19th. It'll be on obviously No Limit. Foxtel or Fox Sports and KO. So check that one out. And he did rattle off a few fights. That's how well I was taking notice, that No Limit will be putting on that show as well, and they actually sounded like really good fights. So, and I think, and on a side note, I do welcome it, because with the amount of workload that No Limit would be under, they've got so much going on with their promotions and fighters and everything else. The Wednesday night ones, or the Thursday night in this case, events would be really hard to continually put on. The small shows are sometimes a lot harder than the big shows to get together as far as matchups and everything else. Because what happens in these sort of smaller shows, when you're putting on 4 and 6 rounders, it's really easy for fighters to pull out. They don't get paid that much money, so you get a lot of pull-outs. So that's why it's a real pain in the ass to sort of deal with. When you get the big shows and they're all getting well paid, unless there's an injury, you might get 1 on the card, sometimes maybe 2, but very, very rare. There's the dog there. But on the small shows, yeah, you do get a lot of pull-outs and a lot of hassles. And so I can totally understand that No Limit said, you know what, a little bit like what Ace Boxing have done with the Premier Boxing Series, let's farm a few of these out to other promoters who deal with these type of shows on a regular basis, and we'll just put our stamp on it, our resources into it, obviously get the TV involved, and I think everyone's happy. No Limit fulfill the contract obligations with Foxtel and not Main Event, but Foxtel, and as a result, they probably get better shows, because you've got those local promoters that are really just working purely on that. No Limit, you got to remember when they've been doing their Wednesday night shows, they've probably got pay-per-views going on, the wheeling and dealing for fights for Tim and Liam and Sam Goodman and all these types of guys. So I get it, and I think it's going to make the model a lot better. So again, all the best to Will for his first shot at the No Limit on Fox events. And as I said, Ace Boxing are doing similar things up in Queensland with their shows. We've seen shows with Team Alice and was it someone else? There's another one, with Dragonfire coming up with Alex Winwood. So that's on September 7th, and I think there's another one the week after that. So all round, I mean, just how good again is Australian boxing at the moment. It's just absolutely fantastic, and I think we're slowly starting to get the model right. We had with these smaller shows, this will be the platform into the bigger shows. So the fact that, as I said, Ace Boxing have done it, farming off shows to other promoters. No Limit are starting to do it now. I just think it augurs well for all the shows coming up. Those guys can focus on the big main events and let those local promoters really get some solid local events going. Because look, they know the landscape. You look at, say, a Melbourne event, you've got someone like Will Tomlinson, knows the boxing scene down here, has got the fighters on board, and it's just a hell of a lot easier to be a man on the ground dealing with everything, rather than, say, No Limit being up in Sydney trying to deal with local venue operators and production teams and councils and the combat boards, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's as I said, a really good thing for boxing in my opinion. So guys, I think that is it for today. I'm going to get on to the day. I'm on the road today, so I've got to get back and get into it, and then get on with my day as well. So guys, have a good one, and we will catch you tomorrow.